Hyunwoo Park stood at the observation deck of the UES Harmony, watching the massive alien station grow larger in the viewport. 3 years of careful talks had led to this moment. Earth's first meeting with the Galactic Council. His hands shook slightly as he adjusted his formal diplomatic uniform. "Ambassador, we're getting close," said Dae-jung Kim, walking up behind him. The security chief looked calm, but Hyunwoo knew him well enough to see the worry in his eyes. "The station is bigger than our reports said," Hyunwoo nodded. The council station was huge. It looked like a metal city floating in space, with towers and bridges connecting different sections. Lights blinked along its surface like stars. Ships from many different worlds docked at various ports. Some ships looked familiar, made of metal and glass like human vessels. Others were strange. One looked like it was made of crystal. Another seemed to be a living creature with wings. "Any word from the council about the meeting?" Hyunwoo asked. "They confirmed the time. Council Prime Vextar will meet us in the main chamber," Dae-jung replied. "So-min and Woo-jin are ready with the presentation." Hyunwoo walked to the briefing room where his team waited. So-min Lee sat at a table covered with data pads and holographic displays. Her science presentation would show humanity's achievements to the council. Woo-jin Choi checked the translation equipment one more time. Getting the words right was crucial. "How are you feeling, So-min?" Hyunwoo asked. She looked up from her work. "Nervous, but excited. The quantum drive data should impress them. Our jump technology is faster than most species achieved in their first 1,000 years of space travel." "That might be the problem," Woo-jin said quietly. "What if they think we're advancing too fast?" "We've been careful," Hyunwoo said. "Every message we sent emphasized peace. We want to join the galactic community, not threaten it." The ship's AI announced their arrival. "Docking complete. Welcome to Council Station Nexus Prime." The airlock opened with a soft hiss. A group of aliens waited for them in a wide corridor. The leader was tall and covered in green scales. His yellow eyes watched the humans carefully. This was Vextar, Council Prime of the Vaxi species. "Welcome, humans," Vextar said. His voice came through the translation device as deep and formal. "I am Council Prime Vextar. The Council is curious about your species." "Thank you for this opportunity," Hyunwoo replied, bowing slightly. "I am Ambassador Hyunwoo Park, representing Earth and all human colonies." They walked through corridors filled with beings Hyunwoo had only seen in reports. Tall, thin creatures with 4 arms. Short, round aliens with fur covering their bodies. One group looked like walking trees. The diversity was amazing and slightly overwhelming. The council chamber was enormous. 12 raised platforms surrounded a central speaking area. Each platform held a different alien species. Hyunwoo recognized some from Earth's databases. The Vaxi with their scales. The Nethak who looked like living crystal formations. The Quillrens who appeared to be clouds of gas held together by energy fields. "Humans of Earth," Vextar announced from his platform. "You have requested membership in our council. You must prove your species is worthy of joining the galactic community." Hyunwoo stepped forward. His team arranged their equipment in the center. "Honored council members, humanity comes before you in peace. We seek knowledge, friendship, and mutual benefit." So-min activated the holographic display. Images of Earth appeared. Cities, farms, oceans under blue skies. Then came the technical data. Human ships traveling between stars, space stations orbiting distant planets, the quantum jump drive that could cross vast distances in days instead of years. "Impressive," said a Nethak representative. Its crystalline body rang like bells when it spoke. "Your technology advances rapidly." "Too rapidly," muttered another council member. Hyunwoo continued his presentation. "We offer our knowledge freely. Our medical advances could help many species. Our agricultural techniques could feed hungry worlds." The council members whispered among themselves in languages the translation devices couldn't handle. Hyunwoo felt tension growing in the chamber. Something was wrong. Woo-jin stepped closer to him. "Ambassador, I'm picking up coded transmissions. Between the platforms. They're using encryption our systems can't break." Vextar raised one clawed hand for silence. "Humans, your presentation raises concerns. Your species has existed in space for less than 2 centuries, yet you have achieved what takes most species millennia. We're fast learners, Hyunwoo said. Humanity has always adapted quickly to new challenges. Yes, Vextar replied. That is the problem. The chamber's lights suddenly changed from warm white to harsh red. Hyunwoo felt his heart racing. I don't understand. For 10,000 years, this council has maintained peace in the galaxy, Vextar continued. We have seen aggressive species before. Young races that grow too fast, advance too quickly, spread too far. We're not aggressive, Hyunwoo protested. We came here seeking peace. Your history says otherwise. Your species has spent most of its existence at war with itself. Now you bring those same instincts to space. So-min stepped forward. Our wars taught us the value of peace. We united Earth specifically to avoid future conflicts. A Quilren representative spoke, its gas form shifting colors. Unity through conquest. Your global federation absorbed smaller nations through economic and military pressure. That's not true, Wu Jin said. The federation was formed by voluntary agreement. After you demonstrated the power to destroy any who refused, Vextar said coldly. Hyunwoo realized this wasn't going as planned. What exactly are you accusing us of? Based on your technological advancement rate, aggressive history, and expansion patterns, this council classifies humanity as a Class 12 extinction threat. The words hit Hyunwoo like a physical blow. Extinction threat? We've never threatened anyone. Not yet, Vextar said. But projections show humanity will dominate this galaxy within 500 years if left unchecked. The Council cannot allow this. Panels in the walls suddenly slid open. Strange weapons emerged, pointing at the human delegation. Energy hummed. In the air. Wait, Hyunwoo raised his hands. If you're worried about human expansion, we can discuss limits. We can sign treaties. Treaties can be broken, Vextar said. Only death is permanent. Daejung moved to protect Hyunwoo, but it was too late. Beams of energy struck the security chief first. He collapsed without a sound. So-min screamed as another beam hit her. Wu Jin tried to run, but the weapons tracked him easily. Hyunwoo stood alone in the center of the chamber, surrounded by pointing weapons. We came in peace, he said, his voice carrying clearly through the translation systems. We offered friendship. Your species' nature makes peace impossible, Vextar replied. The galaxy will be safer without you. Our people will know what happened here, Hyunwoo said. Earth will not ignore the murder of its ambassadors. Earth will be silenced shortly, Vextar said. Your primitive weapons cannot challenge council fleets. Hyunwoo looked at each council member in turn. Some watched with cold interest. Others seemed uncomfortable, but said nothing. You're making a mistake. Humanity is not what you think. Perhaps, Vextar said, but we cannot take that risk. The energy beams struck Hyunwoo from multiple directions. His last words echoed in the chamber. Remember that we came in peace. Remember that. Outside the station, hidden in the shadow of an asteroid, a small human probe recorded everything. Its sophisticated sensors captured every detail of the massacre. The probe waited until the Council ships destroyed the UES Harmony, then began its long journey back to Earth. The message it carried would change everything. The species that came seeking friends had found only enemies. The galaxy had made its choice. Now humanity would make theirs. In the council chamber, Vextar looked down at the human bodies. Clean this up. Prepare the fleet for Earth. We end this threat before it begins. None of the council members spoke against the decision. They had just condemned their own galaxy to a war they couldn't imagine. Humanity had tried peace. Now they would learn what humans did when peace failed. The probe jumped to hyperspace, carrying news of humanity's first and last diplomatic mission. Behind it, the Council prepared for what they thought would be a simple extermination. They had no idea what was coming. Fleet Admiral Jinho Seo was drinking coffee in his office when the emergency alarm started screaming. Red lights flashed across Luna Command's main operations center. Officers ran between stations, their faces tight with worry. Admiral, priority transmission from deep space, called Lieutenant Park from communications. It's from the diplomatic mission. Jin-Ho set down his coffee and walked quickly to the main screen. Put it through. The transmission was poor quality, obviously sent from very far away. But the images were clear enough. Jin-Ho watched in growing horror as alien weapons killed the human delegation. He saw Hyun-Woo Park's final moments, heard his last words about coming in peace. How long ago did this happen? Jin-Ho asked. Based on transmission lag, approximately 6 hours ago, sir. Jin-Ho felt cold anger building in his chest. Get me, President Kang, immediately, and activate Protocol 7. Sir, Protocol 7 requires presidential authorization. Just do it. Within an hour, the footage had spread across Earth's communication networks. Every human on the planet and in the colonies watched their peaceful ambassadors being murdered in cold blood. The response was immediate and unified. Rage. President Yoon Ji-kong called an emergency session of the Global Defense Council. The most powerful leaders on Earth gathered in the secure bunker beneath Geneva. Military commanders, scientists, intelligence, chiefs and political leaders filled the long table. You've all seen the footage, Yoon-ji said without introduction. Our diplomatic mission was slaughtered. They called us an extinction threat and killed our people for the crime of existing. General Young Sik Nam spoke first. Madam President, our intelligence suggests this council has been watching us for decades, maybe centuries. This wasn't a sudden decision. Intelligence Director Hyejin-Oh activated her data display. We've identified at least 12 instances of unexplained spacecraft in our system over the past 50 years. Objects that appeared on sensors briefly then vanished. We thought they were equipment malfunctions. They were scouts, Dr. Min-Ho. Yang said quietly. The head of Earth's Xenobiology Division looked pale. I've been reviewing all our data on alien contact attempts. Every single failed first contact can now be explained. The Council has been deciding our fate for generations. What do you mean? Yoon-ji asked. Min-Ho pulled up historical records. The radio signals that stopped suddenly in 2157. The probe that went missing near Proxima Centauri in 2203. The research station that lost contact in the Tau Ceti system. All of them were investigating alien signals or artifacts. They've been eliminating our explorers one by one, Young-sik realized, keeping us contained while they studied us. And now they've decided we're too dangerous to live, Hyejin added. Yoon-ji looked around the table. Recommendations? Fleet Admiral Jin-Ho stood up. Madam President, I recommend we activate the Annihilation Protocol. The room went silent. Even these powerful people rarely spoke about humanity's darkest contingency plan. Explain the protocol for those who don't know, Yoon-ji said. General Taeyang Yoon took over. The Annihilation Protocol assumes Earth faces total extinction from an alien threat. It authorizes the use of any and all weapons in our arsenal, including those hidden from public knowledge. What hidden weapons? Asked Defense Minister Cho. Project Prometheus has been developing alien-derived technology for 30 years, Taeyang continued. We've recovered crashed scout ships, analyzed their systems, and built weapons the public doesn't know exist. You've been building alien weapons in secret? Yoon-ji asked. We've been preparing for this exact situation, Jin-Ho said. The military has always assumed first contact might go badly. We hoped for the best but prepared for the worst. Dr. Sung-Ho Park entered the room, escorted by security guards. He was the head of the military's most classified research division. He was also Hyun-Woo Park's younger brother. I'm sorry for your loss, Yoon-ji said gently. Sung-Ho's face was hard as stone. My brother died trying to make peace. Now let me tell you how we can make war. He activated a holographic display that showed weapon systems most people in the room had never seen. Antimatter torpedoes capable of cracking planets. Quantum disruption bombs that can destabilize matter at the subatomic level. AI-controlled fleets that can operate without human crews. This is what we've been building while the Council watched us? Young-sik asked. This is what we've been building because the Council was watching us, Sung-Ho corrected. Every crashed scout ship taught us something new. We reverse-engineered their stealth technology, their energy weapons, their faster-than-light communication systems. Commander Ji-won Moon stepped forward. Madam President, our defensive grid is already online. Hidden platforms throughout the solar system are armed and ready. If the Council sends ships to Earth, they'll face weapons they don't know we have. How many ships can we field? Yunji asked. The public fleet has 200 vessels, Jinho replied. The Ghost fleet has 800 more built in hidden shipyards and crewed by AI systems. 1,000 ships, Yunji mused. Against how many alien vessels? Unknown, Hiei-jin admitted. But intelligence suggests the Council has thousands of ships across hundreds of worlds. Then we'll have to be smarter, not just bigger, Seung-ho said. Humans have one advantage in war that aliens might not expect. Which is? We've spent our entire history fighting each other. We know every trick, every strategy, every way to kill efficiently. Most alien species achieved peace before they reached the stars. They've forgotten how to wage real war. Yunji stood up slowly. The Council murdered our ambassadors. They declared war on humanity. They planned to exterminate our entire species. She looked around the table. I'm authorizing the Annihilation Protocol. We go to war. The vote was unanimous. Within hours, secret facilities across Earth and the colonies activated. Hidden shipyards in the asteroid belt began launching vessels that didn't appear on any official records. Weapons platforms emerged from deep space. Storage, their systems coming online for the first time. Captain Byung-Soo Han received his orders aboard the UES Retribution, a ship most humans didn't know existed. His vessel was powered by a controlled black hole reactor and armed with weapons derived from alien technology. The ship's AI, Area, had been built using brain scans from volunteers, including partial patterns from So-Min Lee's research before her death. Aria, status report, Byung-Soo said. All systems nominal, Captain, the AI replied in So-Min's voice. Ghost fleet vessels are reporting ready across the system. We have 800 ships prepared for combat. The Council thinks we're primitives with chemical rockets and nuclear weapons, Byung-Soo said. They're about to learn how wrong they are. Meanwhile, President Yunji prepared humanity's response to the galaxy. The message would be broadcast on every frequency, sent to every corner of known space. People of the galaxy, she began, today, the Galactic Council murdered our peaceful ambassadors. They called us an extinction threat and declared war on humanity for the crime of existing. They believe we are weak because we are young. They believe we are helpless because we are few. They are wrong. She paused, letting her words sink in. Humanity has survived ice ages, plagues, and global wars. We have turned barren worlds into gardens and hostile environments into homes. We have never surrendered to any threat, and we will not start now. The Council wants a war. They shall have one. To the species of the galaxy, we hold no grudge against you. Our fight is with those who would commit genocide in the name of peace. Join us, and we will free you from the Council's tyranny. Oppose us, and you will share their fate. To the Galactic Council, you murdered Ambassador Hyunwoo Park and his team while they carried a message of friendship. You destroyed our ship while it flew under a flag of peace. You have declared your intention to exterminate our species. We accept your declaration of war. You believe you know humanity. You believe you understand what we are capable of. You are about to learn that you know nothing. You picked a fight with the wrong species. We are coming for you. The message ended with coordinates and a timestamp. Earth was broadcasting its location and inviting the Council to attack. On Luna Command, Jinho watched the long-range sensors. How long before they respond? Based on their fleet positions, they could have ships here within a week, Young-Sik replied. Good, Jinho said grimly. Let them come. We'll show them what humans do to species that murder diplomats. Across the solar system, humanity prepared for its first interstellar war. The species that had reached for the stars in hope was about to show the galaxy what happened when that hope was crushed. The Council had made their choice. Now they would live with the consequences. Council Admiral Techmore read the human transmission with growing amusement. The primitive species was actually challenging the Galactic Council to war. It would have been funny if it wasn't so pathetic. They're broadcasting their location and daring us to attack, he told his staff aboard the flagship Dominance. These humans have no concept of what they face. Sir, intelligence reports suggest they have only primitive fusion weapons and chemical propulsion, his aide reported. Our projections show total human extermination within 72 hours of engagement. Make it 48, Techmore ordered. I want this embarrassment ended quickly. The 4th Enforcement Fleet was the Council's largest military force. 300 warships that had conquered 47 worlds without a single defeat. Each ship carried enough firepower to destroy a city. Together they could crack planets. The fleet jumped toward the Sol system with casual confidence. Council ships had faced desperate species before. Young races always fought hardest when cornered. But they always lost in the end. 3 days later, the fleet dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Sol system. Thekmor expected to find human ships waiting in formation, ready for a heroic last stand. Instead, the scanner screens showed nothing. "Where are they?" he demanded. "Sir, I'm detecting no human vessels. The system appears empty except for their planets and space stations. Run deep scans. They must be hiding behind their moon or asteroids." The scans revealed a few human ships near Earth, but nothing that looked military. A space station orbited their moon. Some mining platforms worked in the asteroid belt. It looked like a normal, peaceful system. "This is too easy," Thekmor muttered. "Begin the approach. All ships maintain formation." The Council fleet moved toward Earth at a steady pace. Their sensors watched for any sign of human resistance. When they reached the orbit of Jupiter, Thekmor gave the order to prepare for bombardment. That's when the humans showed themselves. Space around the Council fleet, suddenly filled with objects that hadn't been there a moment before. Hundreds of geometric shapes materialized from quantum stealth fields. They were clearly artificial, but they looked nothing like any human technology the Council had seen. "Admiral, we're detecting massive energy signatures from those objects," the sensor operator called out. "They're not matching any known human designs." "Some kind of automated defense system," Thekmor decided. "Probably salvaged alien technology. Destroy them." The Council ships opened fire with particle beams and plasma cannons. The energy weapons struck the mysterious objects and did absolutely nothing. The defensive platforms absorbed the attacks, without any visible damage. "Sir, our weapons have no effect. Increase power and fire again." Before the Council ships could fire a second volley, the human platforms responded. Beams of coherent energy lanced out from the defensive grid. The weapons moved faster than anything the Council had seen, striking multiple targets simultaneously. The first Council ship to die was the destroyer Swift Victory. The human beam cut through its shields like they weren't there, then carved the ship in half. The two pieces exploded in brilliant flashes. "Impossible!" Thekmor breathed. "Our shields can stop anything!" More human weapons fired. Council ships died by the dozens as beams of impossible energy tore through their hulls. Ships that had conquered worlds were destroyed in seconds by weapons that shouldn't exist. "All ships, evasive maneuvers," Thekmor ordered. "Return fire!" The Council fleet scattered, trying to avoid the human weapons, but the defensive platforms tracked every movement perfectly. Their targeting systems predicted where each ship would go before the pilots even decided. From the asteroid belt came a new threat. Ships emerged from hidden bases, moving with purpose toward the Council fleet. These vessels looked more human in design, but they were larger and more advanced than anything in the intelligence reports. Leading them was the UES Retribution, commanded by Captain Byung-Soo Han. The ship was beautiful and terrifying, its hull painted black with silver trim. Energy crackled along weapon mounts that had never appeared in any human database. "Area. Target the flagship," Byung-Soo ordered. "Targeting Council flagship dominance," the AI replied in So Min Lee's voice. "Quantum torpedoes armed and ready." Fire. The torpedo that struck Thekmor's ship was unlike anything the Council had encountered. Instead of exploding on impact, it phased through the shields and materialized inside the ship's hull. The resulting detonation tore the massive vessel apart. From within, Thekmor had just enough time to realize his mistake before his ship died around him. The humans weren't primitive. They had been pretending to be weak while building weapons that could destroy the Council's finest ships. Commander Ji-won Moon watched the battle from Luna Command's strategic center. The displays showed Council ships dying at an incredible rate. Human weapons, hidden for decades, were proving devastatingly effective. "Status report," she requested. "Defensive grid is operating at 30% capacity," came the reply. "Enemy casualties at 40% and climbing. Our losses are minimal." The Council expected to find humans with chemical rockets and nuclear bombs, G1 said with satisfaction. Instead, they found weapons built from their own technology. Dr. Shung-Ho Park monitored the engagement from his research facility. Every shot fired, every ship destroyed, provided more data about Council technology and tactics. His brother's death had given him the motivation to build these weapons. Now they were avenging that death. "How are the quantum disruptors performing?" he asked his team. "Beyond expectations, sir. Council ships have no defense against matter displacement weapons." "Good. Deploy the second wave platforms." More human weapons came online throughout the solar system. Hidden bases on Europa and Titan revealed themselves, launching clouds of AI-controlled fighters. Each fighter was no larger than a shuttle, but carried weapons that could cripple a Council destroyer. The remaining Council ships tried to retreat, but human vessels were faster. The Ghost Fleet had been built with engines reverse-engineered from captured alien scouts. They could outrun anything the Council had. Admiral Kesetai, commanding the Council's rear guard, watched his fleet being systematically destroyed. "How is this possible? Our intelligence said they were primitives." "Sir, their weapons are Council-derived. Technology. They've been studying our ships for decades." "They've been learning from our scouts," Kesetai realized. "Every ship we sent to watch them taught them something new." He opened a channel to all remaining vessels. "All ships. Emergency jump to hyperspace. We must warn the Council." Only 83 ships escaped from the original 300. They limped back to Council space carrying news that would shake the galaxy to its core. On Earth, President Yoonji Kang addressed the planet. "Citizens of Earth and the colonies, today we faced our first test as a spacefaring species. The Galactic Council sent their finest fleet to destroy us. That fleet no longer exists." Cheers erupted in cities across Earth and the colonies. Humanity had not only survived its first interstellar war, it had won decisively. "But this is only the beginning," Yoonji continued. "The Council will send more ships, larger fleets. They will not underestimate us again. We must be ready." His private office, Fleet Admiral Jinho Seo studied casualty reports. Human losses, 12 fighters, 3 defensive platforms, 0 capital ships. Council losses, 217 ships, including their flagship and most experienced crews. "It's almost unfair," he told General Tae Yang-yoon. "They came expecting to fight primitives and ran into weapons they couldn't comprehend." "Will they try again?" Tae Yang asked. "Of course. The Council has ruled the galaxy for 10,000 years. They won't accept defeat from a species they consider inferior. Then we'll have to teach them again." Jinho nodded. "Next time will be harder. They'll come in larger numbers with better intelligence. But they made one critical mistake." "Which is?" "They think this is their war to win. They don't understand that they're fighting for survival now. Every human who saw that footage of Ambassador Park's murder wants revenge. They've united our entire species against them." Captain Byung-Soo Han returned the UES Retribution to its hidden base inside a hollowed-out asteroid. His ship had performed perfectly, destroying 6 Council vessels without taking a single hit. "Area, analysis of Council tactics," he requested. "Council ships rely heavily on overwhelming firepower and defensive formations," the AI replied. "They show little adaptability when facing unexpected threats. Their training appears focused on intimidating primitive species rather than fighting peer opponents. They've been bullying weaker civilizations for so long they've forgotten how to fight real wars," Byung-Soo realized. "That's their weakness." "Shall I prepare for the next engagement, Captain?" "Yes. And expand the Ghost Fleet. If the Council wants a war, we'll give them one they'll never forget." Across the solar system, human industry shifted into wartime production. Hidden factories that had built weapons in secret for decades now operated openly. Shipyards that officially didn't exist began launching new vessels daily. The species that had asked only for friendship was now preparing to teach the galaxy a lesson about consequences. The Council had awakened something they didn't understand and couldn't control. Humanity was no longer asking for a place among the stars. They were taking it. The news of the 4th Enforcement Fleet's destruction spread through Council space like wildfire. For the first time in 10,000 years, a primitive species had defeated a major Council military force. Council Prime Vextar called an emergency session on the capital world of Nexus Prime. Representatives from all 12-member species gathered in the Great Hall, their fear obvious despite attempts to hide it. "How is this possible?" demanded Counselor Zethka of the crystalline Nethak. "Our intelligence said humans were barely spacefaring." "Our intelligence was wrong," Vexitar replied coldly. "The humans have been hiding their true capabilities for decades. They used our own scouts against us, learning from every ship we sent to observe them." "What do we do now?" asked the gas-form Quilren representative. "We mobilize every available fleet," Vextar declared. "The humans may have won one battle, but they cannot stand against the full might of the Council." But even as Vextar spoke, human forces were already moving. Admiral Kyungmin Yu commanded the UES Vengeance, leading humanity's first offensive operation beyond the solar system. Her target? The Council's main communication relay at Wolf 359. "All ships report ready, Admiral," came the report from her. "Bridge crew, begin the attack," Kyungmin ordered. The human fleet dropped out of hyperspace near the massive relay station. It was a structure the size of a small moon, connecting hundreds of Council worlds through quantum entanglement networks. Destroying it would cripple Council communications across an entire sector. The station's defenses activated immediately. Energy shields surrounded the structure while automated weapons platforms emerged from hidden bays. Council engineers had built this facility to withstand any attack. They had never faced human weapons. Major Dong-Hyun Shin led Strike Team Alpha in a direct assault on the station's core. His soldiers wore armor derived from Council technology, making them nearly invisible to enemy sensors. They moved through the station like ghosts, planting quantum charges at critical points. "Charges set," Dong-Hyun reported. "Station will be destroyed in 10 minutes. But the humans weren't just destroying the relay. Dr. Ja-Young Kim was aboard one of the ships, preparing her biological weapons for deployment. She had spent months developing viruses and parasites specifically designed to target each Council species. "Release the Nethak crystalline virus into the station's atmosphere," she ordered her team. "It will spread to every Nethak facility they visit from here." The virus was designed to slowly corrupt Nethak crystal matrices, causing their thinking processes to degrade over time. Infected Nethak would make poor decisions, forget important information, and gradually lose their ability to function. For the Vaxi, Jae-Young had developed neural parasites that would override their command structures. Infected Vaxi would follow human orders instead of their own leaders, turning the Council's military hierarchy against itself. The Quilren gas-form species faced quantum disruption fields that would scatter their consciousness, making it impossible for them to maintain coherent thought. "Biological weapons deployed," Ja-Young reported. "Estimated infection rate across Council space, 40% within 6 months." The communication relay exploded in a spectacular display of fire and energy. With it died the Council's ability to coordinate their scattered fleets effectively. Meanwhile, Commander Sung Jae-ro was leading deep strike missions against Council colony worlds. Unlike the Council's sterile bombardments, human attacks were surgical and terrifying. They didn't destroy planets, they conquered them. "Target the government complex on Vaxi Prime," Sung Jae ordered his squadron. "Leave the civilian areas intact." Human ships descended through the planet's atmosphere like falling stars. They struck with precision weapons that eliminated military targets while leaving infrastructure undamaged. Within hours, the planet's defense grid was offline and its government dead. But the humans didn't stop there. They landed troops who began freeing the planet's slave populations. Many Council worlds relied on forced labor from conquered species. Humanity offered these slaves something the Council never had: freedom. "Citizens of Vaxi Prime," Sung Jae broadcast on all frequencies. "The Human Federation has liberated your world from Council tyranny. Any species that wishes to join us in freedom is welcome. Any who choose to fight for their former masters will be destroyed." The response was immediate. Entire cities rose in rebellion against their Vaxi overlords. Species that had been enslaved for centuries turned on their masters with fury built up over generations of oppression. On the Council capital world, Vextar watched his empire crumbling. Human forces were striking everywhere at once, moving with a coordination that seemed impossible. "How are they managing these simultaneous attacks?" he demanded. His intelligence chief, a nervous Nethak named Veltar, consulted his reports. "Sir," We believe they've infiltrated our communication networks. Every order we send, every fleet movement we make, they know about it in advance. This was true. Cyber warfare specialist Hairin Choi had been working for months to penetrate Council systems. Her team of human hackers had inserted code into every major Council network, giving them access to military communications, supply reports, and strategic planning. "We can read their mail," Hairin told Admiral Kyung Min during a secure briefing. "Every fleet movement, every defensive position, every resource allocation. They might as well be broadcasting their plans directly to us." "How long before they discover the infiltration?" Kyung Min asked. "They already suspect, but they can't find our code. We built it using principles from their own technology, so it looks like normal system functions to their scanners." The Council's member species were beginning to panic. The Kalari, longtime Council vassals, secretly contacted Earth through an intermediary named Bo-Ram Lim. Bo-Ram was a human-sympathetic alien who had witnessed previous Council genocides and wanted no part in another. "The Kalari Confederation wishes to withdraw from the Council," Bo-Ram transmitted to Earth. "We will provide intelligence about Council military positions in exchange for protection from human forces." "Accepted," President Yoon-ji Kang replied immediately. "Any species that abandons the Council will be granted peace with humanity." Within days, 3 more species had defected. The Council's alliance was cracking under pressure as member civilizations realized they were on the losing side of the war. Vextar grew desperate. He ordered the mobilization of every available ship, stripping defenses from core worlds to build a massive fleet. Over 5,000 vessels gathered at Nexus Prime for a final assault on Earth. "We will crush the human home world," he declared. "Without Earth, their resistance will collapse." But when the Council's Grand Fleet jumped toward the Sol system, they found something unexpected waiting for them. Human ships filled space around Earth. Not just hundreds, but thousands. The Ghost Fleet had been revealed in full, supported by vessels from newly allied species. Captain Byung-Soo Han stood on the bridge of the UES Retribution, now flagship of the combined human fleet. Around him, officers from a dozen different species worked together at control stations. "Area. Status of all allied forces," he requested. "Human fleet ready. Kalari squadrons in position. Threxian fighters launched. Moldak heavy cruisers standing by," the AI reported. "Total allied ships, 7,400. Against 5,000 Council vessels," Byung-Soo mused. "They still think they can win through superior numbers." "Captain," called his communications officer. "Incoming transmission from the Council fleet. Council Prime Vextar wants to speak with you." "Put him through." Vextar's reptilian face appeared on the main screen, his yellow eyes filled with rage. "Human Commander, I offer you one final chance. Surrender now, and your species will be granted a quick death." Byung-Soo smiled coldly. "Council Prime Vextar, I have a counteroffer. Surrender your entire fleet, and we might let some of your crew live." "Impossible. The Council has ruled this galaxy for 10,000 years, and now your rule is ending. You made 2 critical mistakes, Vextar. First, you underestimated humanity. Second, you assumed the species you've oppressed would always remain loyal." "What do you mean?" "Look at your own fleet. Half your ships are crewed by conscripted soldiers from conquered worlds. How many of them do you think want to die for the Council that enslaved their people?" Even as Byung-Soo spoke, ships in the Council fleet began breaking formation. Crews that had been forced to serve the Council turned on their officers. Rebellions erupted throughout the enemy fleet as oppressed species finally had their chance for revenge. "No," Vextar whispered, watching his grand fleet tear itself apart from within. "The Council is finished," Byung-Soo announced. "Your empire is falling. Your allies are abandoning you. And humanity is just getting started." The battle that followed was less a fight than an execution. Council ships, already weakened by internal rebellions, fell quickly to combined human and allied forces. Advanced weapons that had been hidden for decades tore through enemy formations with devastating efficiency. When it ended, less than 200 Council ships remained intact. Most of those had surrendered rather than face destruction. Vextar's flagship was captured rather than destroyed. The Council Prime himself was taken alive along with his surviving officers. 18 months after the massacre at Council Station, Fleet Admiral Sujin Bayek stood in the ruins of what had once been the most powerful structure in the galaxy. The Council's capital station orbited a dead star, its broken halls echoing, with the footsteps of human soldiers and their alien allies. Council Prime Vextar knelt in shackles before a simple metal table. The once proud leader of the Galactic Empire looked thin and defeated. His yellow eyes, which had once struck fear into countless species, now held only resignation. "Do you understand the charges against you?" Sujin asked formally. "Genocide of 47 species, crimes against sentience, conspiracy to suppress galactic civilization," Vextar recited in a hollow voice. "I understand them. Do you have anything to say in your defense? We maintained order for 10,000 years. We prevented wars. We kept peace." "You kept slavery," Sujin corrected. "You murdered anyone who threatened your power. You called genocide maintaining order." Around the broken station, representatives from 300 species watched the proceedings. Some had been council members, now eager to distance themselves from their former leaders. Others came from worlds that had suffered under council oppression for millennia. President Yunji Kang observed from Earth via quantum communication link. The trial was being broadcast across the galaxy on every available frequency. For the first time in galactic history, the rulers were being held accountable for their crimes. Judge Namsu Kwan, formerly of the Earth Supreme Court, presided over the proceedings. Based on the evidence presented and testimony from survivors of council actions, this court finds the defendant guilty on all charges. The sentence is death by execution, to be carried out immediately and broadcast throughout the galaxy as a warning to future tyrants. Vextar showed no emotion as human guards led him away. His execution would be quick and clean, more mercy than he had ever shown his victims. One by one, the surviving council members faced the same fate. Their deaths marked the end of 10,000 years of galactic tyranny. With the council destroyed, humanity faced the challenge of building something better. President Yunji announced the formation of the Terran Cooperative from the rebuilt chambers where the Council had once ruled. "Today begins a new age for galactic civilization," she declared to the assembled representatives. The Terran Cooperative is founded on principles the Council never understood: cooperation instead of domination, progress instead of stagnation, freedom instead of slavery. Any species may join freely. Any species may leave freely. Advancement will be encouraged and shared. Young civilizations will be mentored, not murdered. The response was overwhelming. Within days, over 200 species had requested membership in the cooperative. They brought with them technologies, knowledge, and resources that had been suppressed under Council rule. Research Director Sun Young-an led the new Galactic Development Initiative from a massive space station built in the orbit of Proxima Centauri, the same system where human diplomats had been murdered. The irony was intentional. "We're seeing technological advancement at an unprecedented rate," Sun Young reported to the Cooperative Council. "Species that were held back for centuries are making breakthroughs daily now that they're free to innovate." The Kalari had developed new medical techniques that could extend lifespans across multiple species. The Threxians shared mining technologies that could extract resources from gas giants. The Moldax offered manufacturing processes that could build entire space stations in weeks instead of years. This is what the Council feared, Sun Young realized. Not any single species becoming too powerful, but all species advancing together. They knew that cooperation would make their empire obsolete. Dr. Minho Zhang worked closely with alien scientists to catalog the galaxy's biological diversity. Many species had been driven to near extinction by Council policies. Others had been forced to suppress their natural evolution to avoid being classified as threats. "We're discovering new forms of life every day," Minho told President Yunji during a briefing. The Council kept detailed records of every species they encountered, but they only preserved the ones they could control. "We're finding evidence of hundreds of extinct civilizations. Can any be restored?" "Some." The Council preserved genetic samples from many species they destroyed. "With our new medical technology, we might be able to bring back at least partial populations." The project to restore extinct species became one of the Cooperative's most important missions. Worlds that had been empty for millennia began showing signs of life again as carefully reconstructed ecosystems took root. Captain Byung-Soo Han commanded the UES Unity, the flagship of the new Cooperative Defense Force. Unlike the Council's enforcement fleets, the CDF existed to protect member worlds from external threats, not to suppress internal development. "Captain, we're receiving distress signals from the Outer Rim," reported his communications officer. "Unknown hostile forces are attacking colony worlds. Aria, analysis of the threat," Byung-Soo requested. "Ships of unknown configuration, using weapons technology that doesn't match any known species," the AI replied. "They appear to be from outside our galaxy." This was the new challenge facing the Cooperative. With the Council gone, threats from beyond the galaxy were beginning to probe the borders of known space. The galaxy would need to stand united against dangers they had never imagined. "Set course for the Outer Rim," Byung-Soo ordered, "and send word to all Cooperative fleets. We have work to do." On Earth, a memorial garden had been built where Council Station once orbited. At its center stood a statue of Ambassador Hyunwoo Park, his hand extended in a gesture of friendship. The inscription read, "We came in peace. Remember that." President Yoon-ji often visited the memorial when making difficult decisions. The statue reminded her of how the war had started, with humanity's desire for peaceful cooperation, and how it had ended, with the galaxy finally free to pursue that same goal. "Do you think he would approve of what we've built?" asked her aide during one such visit. "I think he would be proud that his death led to freedom for billions of beings," Yoon-ji replied. "But I also think he would remind us that our work is just beginning." She was right. Reports came daily of new discoveries, new challenges, new opportunities. Species that had hidden in the galactic backwaters for millennia were emerging with technologies that could revolutionize civilization. Young races were taking their first steps into space, no longer fearing extinction for their ambition. The Andromedan Contact Event, as historians would later call it, began when deep space monitors detected massive ships approaching from outside the galaxy. These vessels were larger than anything humanity or its allies had ever built, powered by technologies that seemed to manipulate the fundamental forces of reality. "They're not responding to our communications," reported the monitor station at the Galactic Edge. "Energy signatures suggest weapons capability beyond our current understanding." The Terran Cooperative faced its first major external threat. But unlike the old Council, which would have tried to appease or hide from such a danger, humanity chose to meet it head-on. "All Cooperative fleets, prepare for mobilization," Fleet Admiral Jin-Ho Seo ordered from his command center on Luna. "If these newcomers come in peace, they'll be welcomed. If they come for conquest, they'll learn what happened to the last empire that threatened our freedom." Admiral Kyung-Min Yu took command of the First Contact Fleet, a massive force combining the best ships and crews from dozens of species. Her mission was to intercept the unknown vessels before they could reach inhabited systems. "Remember," she told her captains before departure, "we represent not just humanity, but every free species in the galaxy. We stand for cooperation, progress, and the right of all beings to determine their own destiny." The fleet jumped to hyperspace, racing toward an uncertain encounter. Behind them, the galaxy continued its rapid transformation under cooperative guidance. Research stations shared data freely across species barriers. Trade routes connected worlds that had never known each other existed. Young civilizations received guidance and protection instead of death sentences. On the frontier world of New Hope, human colonists worked alongside Kalari engineers and Threxian miners to build humanity's newest settlement. Children of different species played together in gardens where flowers from a dozen worlds grew side by side. This was the vision that had died with Ambassador Park and been reborn through humanity's victory over the Council. A galaxy where differences were celebrated rather than feared, where advancement was encouraged rather than suppressed, where peace came through strength rather than oppression. President Yoon-ji stood before the Cooperative Assembly for her final address before stepping down. Her successor would be chosen by representatives of all member species, human and alien alike. "When Council Prime Vextar murdered our diplomatic mission, he thought he was eliminating a threat to galactic order," she said. "He was right. We were a threat to his order, to tyranny, to the idea that some species deserve to rule while others deserve to serve. Humanity came to the stars seeking friends and found enemies. But in defeating those enemies, we found something better than friendship. We found family, a galactic family united not by fear, but by hope.